I've got one that can see.
Logic before authority.
Hi guys, this is Daniel Alexander Cannon here on Logic Before Authority. And today we're going to be talking about something that you may not think so, but it's related to previous videos. We're going to go through images and discussions about the trees and also us and how we're related. Specifically, we're going to talk about the hand and the fingerprint, and what the fingerprint and what the hands, such as the palm, is trying to tell us. We're going to take a look at some different images here comparing trees to antennas that are engineered to transmit and receive. We're going to take a look also at how ancient people chose to do things with trees that meant things and what they meant based on the research that I've been able to do. We're also going to get even more specific in that subject and look at trees that have been used to communicate things, not only live trees, but dead trees. That when dead trees are used, and such as taking a tree and yanking it out of the ground and planting it upside down with the roots sticking in the air, what that means, and other things related to the trees. And no, this is not about worship of the earth, worship of the trees. This is just about being aware of what things really are and what their attributes and capabilities really are, and why the Bible said that there was a tree in the midst of the garden. In the middle. The midst means the middle of the garden. And this is something that I've been pondering for a very long time. And we're going to get into it. We're going to look at what the ancients knew about the power and purpose of trees and the different things that are said that the trees were used to do. And again, no, we're not talking about worship. We're talking about the way God, our Father in heaven, said that we had dominion over all things. What does dominion mean? Oh, well, we can just cut down the tree. No, that's like saying that we're in the image of God just because we just kind of favor him. That's way too simple. So we're going to get into it more in depth today. And it will become more clear as to why this is related to my work as we move forward. My other work, where we're working on the Edomites and we're working on Operation Sky Eye and working on the free needles and the nasal probes. And speaking of that, I actually have here in my possession a test kit, a nasal test kit from the early 2000s. You know, the real long Q-tips, and we want to take a look at it up under a microscope, a video high definition microscope, which thanks to you guys, I have these Q-tips and this test kit, and we have a microwave microscope on the way. You can hear my little bag rattling here that I've got the test kit in. So we are going to take a look here very soon as it gets here, at that. And I have to thank a few people also, and then we'll move into discussing what we're going to discuss here. I want to say thank you to Robin W., Gerard F., Bill A., Julie M., Diane M., Sandra R., and Nicole D. Thank y'all guys for being a sponsor of this knowledge and this content. I could not have the time to do all this massive amount of research and discernment and meditation and prayer if it was not for y'all guys supporting my work. So I greatly appreciate y'all guys. Some of you guys that I just mentioned are producers, and you will be listed at the in the credits of today's video as well. So let's talk about the trees. Now I want you to think about something. We've all heard and seen, and we've been turned against it really due to television and TV preachers, where they'll do the laying on the hands to heal the sick. Okay, we've all seen all that, and we're all turned off for it. Now, does that mean that the laying of the hands on someone with deep, well, not even deep, just the belief of the faith rather, of a mustard seed, that you can become a conduit and help someone who is having various different kinds of problems? I believe that is true. Matter of fact, I know it's true from my own experiences. However, what I want to say to you is this. If you bump your head, what's the first thing that goes on to that place that you hit? The palm of your hand. If you bump your knee, what's the first thing that goes on that knee? The palm of your hand. What does it do? It makes the pain go away, doesn't it? It helps alleviate the pain. If your little baby bumps his head, what do? You rub your hand on it, the palm of your hand. Now, do you think that's just something you do because you've seen your mama do it or your daddy do it to you when you were a kid, so now you do it? No, it's because it works. It works. What it is you're feeling empathy, you're having an emotion, and then you're taking that emotion and you're laying your hand on that situation, and you're wishing for the pain to go away. You have intention for the pain or the injury to be better, to be healed, don't you? It's a combination of the emotion and the intent in your mind, and even in your mind's eye, and your faith that this will help. And it does, doesn't it? All right, so now that we have come to an understanding, let's take a closer look. Now, when you look at the human fingerprint, excuse me, you look at the human fingerprint, and we've all kind of looked at our fingerprints a little bit, but we haven't looked close enough, most of us. And I think I've said one other time on my channel here that it's interesting that the fingerprints are in the image of frequency waves. You see? See how a frequency wave dips up and down. Every time it comes up and down, that is a frequency. Up, down, up, down, up, down. How frequent does it go up and down? That is the basis of frequency. A low frequency means it has a low rate of frequent, meaning it goes up and down much slower. A high frequency, it means it has a high frequent nature of going up and down. Whoop, 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 up and down, right? Now, you look at your fingerprints. You can look at it from a also from hang on just a second. I think I have another image here. I do, as a matter of fact. I just hadn't put it up here yet. I have another image it's a cross section of your fingerprint, okay, and the what's below that, okay, what's in your finger that you cannot see, but here you can see it, okay, and so we're going to go through this as well in understanding truly what is it that is in the power of your hand, the supernatural powers that are in your hand, and we're going to discuss one way that they can be used today. Okay, mainly it's in reference to this image and probably this image. Okay, matter of fact, we'll leave them like they are. Okay, so let's look and think about the fingerprint. You notice that the fingerprint also looks like in this case, a hurricane, doesn't it? You know how they have the millibar waves when they show a weather map, especially in the old school days, they would show you the circles, the little circles inside of circles, and you have that right on your hand. You have, the way Father put it, is to show you right on your hand, right in front of your face, that your hands have the ability to receive and transmit frequency, energy. You say, okay, well, that's great. Well, what can I do with it? Well, one, you can make your little baby's head stop hurting. You can alleviate pain and you can heal with it. It takes emotion, intent, and energy. For myself, it's even a situation where I have the ability to make my body drop adrenaline into my system, becomes an amplifier of the intention and of the emotion that I'm wanting to feel. I'm wanting to feel empathy. I'm wanting to feel love. I'm wanting to feel those positive types of emotions in order to get the reaction that you're looking for. And you want to connect and ask Father to, and you don't have to speak out loud like the preachers on TV. Okay. You can do this in your mind. Father can hear you. Father made you. He can hear your thoughts, your bad ones and your good ones. He knows it all. Okay. But you do all of that with intention, and you focus on it, and you push your energy forth through your hands. Now, I can't show you how to do that. I can only explain the best I can. And I can tell you, in many, many cases that I have done this, I've never seen a case where the person didn't immediately get better. I could go into explaining all those things, but it's not what this video is about exactly. So let's take a look over on this side, see what I've got here on the image. And I do share these images. Don't think I've shared this one yet, but I will share it on my community page on my YouTube channel. Okay. And most of them, I just post them occasionally. If I put an extreme amount of work into one, I will do it members only, but I typically try not to do that, simply because not everybody's a member, but yet there's people that support this work, so I don't want to keep it from them and try to drill another $3 out of them. That's not the intent here. So anyways, when you touch a tree, your body is an incredible receiver and transmitter of subtle energy. Placing your hand on a tree can calm your mind and nervous system, ground and balance your energy, and exchange subtle frequencies, open pathways for insight and inner knowledge. You remember how your Bible says that you should pray and you should meditate? Okay? It says both. Yes, the word meditate. And so don't think that I'm getting woo-woo or hocus pokey or worshiping of trees here, because I'm not. You're not worshiping the tree. You are using the tree for one of its purposes, because we have dominion over the tree, and it will provide a service to us more than just its wood to build a house. The trees and everything in this world is supposed to provide a service to us without killing it. One of the only things that does not do that is a swine. A swine gives nothing. Only in slaughter. A swine takes and takes and takes, and only in slaughter is there something that the swine gives. You see, like a bird will give a feather. You can turn that into a pen. You can stuff pillows with it. You can eat the eggs, okay, without killing the bird. Not all eggs are fertilized eggs, so if you're worried about eating a fertilized egg, you can have chickens. Don't have a rooster, you don't have fertilized eggs. I'm not saying eating fertilized eggs are bad. I'm just saying that for a few of you that would be concerned. Now, so birds, of course, they do things for us. We have dominion. They provide services to us. You can think about many other animals, dogs, for instance, cats. A dog will provide protection. A cat will take care of the rat. And the dog will provide companionship, and so will the cat. And there's many other things that they do. And all things in this world have something to offer, because we have dominion, without having to kill it, or eat it, or build a house with it. Okay? That's the point I'm trying to get across to you. Everything has uses. Sometimes it's medical. Sometimes it's a service of some kind, just like with the trees. When you use a tree, because a tree is a lot more live than you could ever realize. And the trees are in communication, not in exactly the same way, communication like we are, of course, but it is communication with all the other trees around for great distances. It's through communication through the air and through the root system and through the what's the word for it? The got it here somewheres. Well, it's a microbial system that's in the earth itself, and I've got it. We'll cover it here in a minute. But you can take a tree, you can take a copper wire, and you can wrap it around up high on the tree, and that's your positive side of a circuit. You can then take the negative side of the circuit and go out from the tree and put some kind of a rod, preferably copper, in the ground, and that's your negative side of an electrical circuit. You take that negative and that positive, and you put a meter on it to check what the current is that's flowing, and you're going to find out that you have enough current to light up things, to light up like LED lights, things that use low amounts of electricity. The bigger the tree, the healthier the tree, the more energy that it's going to be providing, actual electricity that you can use. So therefore, you can see that there is energy flowing through the tree. Of course there is. You have sunlight coming down, And upon the leaves of the tree, the sun is electrical in nature in a way. And so is that tree going to be electrical in nature in a way. And guess what? So are you. But you can using the palm of your hand and the fingers, of course, placing them on a tree. You can use that as a way to intensify and magnify your connection. Use the tree basically like an antenna. Trees reach deep into the earth and high into the sky. They receive, hold, and transmit frequencies even across dimensions. Roots anchor deep into the earth, connecting to water veins, minerals, and the living grid of the planet. Or as I like to say more often, the world, spelled WHIRLED. Just like this looks like a storm over here. This is also in the image of our world. Another video for you, although I've talked about it in the past a number of times. Your energy meets the tree's energy. Information, intention, and presence are exchanged beyond words. It would be similar to how you would pray for somebody for healing. Listen and receive. In stillness, the tree can help you hear, like when you're meditating and you're listening, because that's what you're supposed to be doing when you're meditating. You put out a thought and wait for a response and answer. Guidance, insight, answers, and the wisdom of nature and spirit, the Holy Spirit. Communication through intention and heart coherence. You can send thoughts, prayers, and love through the tree to all of life. Across cultures and time, people have known trees are living beings. They remember, respond, and communicate. They can be our allies, our teachers, and bridges to the unseen. Now, ways to connect with a tree and through a tree, as using it as a amplifier for your hand. I mean, even your hand, the palm of your hand is named after a tree, or the tree is named after your hand. Either way, it's telling you something. The best way to hide something from somebody is to put it right in front of them and don't tell them about it. Never mention it, even lie about it or deceive you about it, but have it right in front of their face. So, place your hand on the bark. Feel its texture, temperature, and life. Breathe deeply and sync your breath with the tree's natural rhythm. Or sit with your back against the tree, or even face it in stillness. I would say putting your hands on the tree is the best route. Listen with your heart as much as your ears. Notice subtle impressions. Share your thoughts, intentions, questions, and gratitude. And offer thanks. There's nothing wrong with telling the tree thank you and offering love, even to the things of this world that we see as inanimate objects. But they are not. You sitting under the tree itself is creating an unseen toroidal energy field, similar to how your body does the same thing. We all know that it feels better to be under a tree, especially when it's too hot. We say, well, it feels better under here because it's in the shade. But is that all it is? How about when you're on the beach and you're in the sun, but it feels better on the beach because your feet, the soles of your feet are in the sand. You no longer have the rubber insulators separating you. And that's the other thing. When you're out here, you're going to meditate using a tree as an amplifier. You would want to be barefooted. Okay. There's a reason why they have everybody walking around with rubber soles, rubber insulators. What do they put on anything when they want to insulate it from the other thing? Typically it's rubber in between, isn't it? Now, I showed you earlier, so we're going to look at it again, comparing the antenna to the tree. But let's take a closer look first at the fingerprint itself, okay? So what lies beneath each ridge, meaning these ridges and how they loop around on your fingers, what lies beneath them. In the hand, the hand has more nerve endings, meaning connections, the ability to receive or transmit, than basically anything else in your body with the exception of your brain itself, okay? You have 3,000 plus nerve endings that are underneath each ridge. So you got one ridge running around here like that, and kind of like a big circle or loop. It's got thousands and thousands of nerve endings that connect to it. You've got 100 plus sweat glands connected to each one. We all know that electricity flows better and is more dangerous with water around, don't we? Countless capillaries, meaning blood flow, of course, and dynamic receptors for the touch, pressure, vibration, temperature, and texture. Fingertips have one of the highest concentrations of nerve endings, like I said, in the entire body. Each one is a tiny antenna picking up information. See, think about it like that. Your nerve endings are just like the branches in the trees and all its little small branches reaching out are like the nerve endings of the tree feeling and sensing the world around it. You can pause and read through all the different labels of everything, what everything is called, okay? But a couple of the really interesting ones is the Messner's corpuscle, and that's the light receptor low frequency vibration sensor that is in your finger, okay? You've got them all in your fingers, thousands and thousands of them. It's called the Messner's corpuscle, okay, for low frequency vibration sensor. And then you've got what's called the Pacinian corpuscle, and that's the deep pressure receptor or high frequency vibration sensor, which typically lies a little bit deeper actually than the low frequency sensor, okay? And again, you could pause any of this and zoom in and read all the other things here, but I've kind of covered pretty much most of it there. The fingerprint is a biological transducer, converting physical touch, pressure, and energy, even energy in the air, into electrical signals understood by the body and brain, but even more so, there's a connection to the real you, the soul within you, that is what needs to be listening in order to discern and know the things, the secrets, and the spiritual aspects, supernatural aspects of this world. When your hand touches a tree, you create a circuit of exchange. Your bioelectricity meets the tree's natural electromagnetic field. Information, intention, and energy flow both ways. How they connect: nerves receive signals, travel to the brain, creating perception, emotion, and thought. Bioelectric fields interact with the Earth's natural frequencies, and you exchange that energy. Now, if this sounds like woo-woo to you, well, it's woo-woo to you. but it's not woo-woo to me, and it's not woo-woo to a lot of people that are here listening. It's just something that we need to be more aware of and not feel like we're witches dancing around a fire just because we're recognizing the things that are here around us in the garden, just like the tree that was in the Bible in the midst of the garden. Why was there so much to be made about the tree? Knowledge of good and evil. All things can be used for good or for evil. Intention and focus. Your thoughts and heart coherence can be amplified through the touch of a tree. The tree acts as an antenna carrying and transmitting frequencies far beyond words. Okay? Now let's take a look at nature's antenna, trees, and technology. And it's just a comparison, a visual comparison for you to compare the two things here. And I want you to understand the way they learned how antennas work, to start out developing antennas, is because of trees. You have to study nature, and they did, and they do, in order to understand the secrets that are held in the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Okay? This tree, its makeup is a perfect mathematical makeup. Every time, every tree, it follows an exact genetic mathematical expression. And when they learn how to build these antennas, you can see how similar, for instance, this antenna is to the tree. If you can't see it, I can't see it for you. All right. Let's look at ancient ways people use trees. A lot of this information, too, guys, is going to go into my documentary that I'm ultimately working on long term, and it's called Secrets of the Trees. But it takes, to do a full-on, really good documentary, it takes a lot of work, a lot of months. I've done it before, but it takes a lot of work and a lot of months. And if I apply myself all completely to that, I wouldn't be able to do these other things and share with you these things that I do on a regular basis. It would just take up all my time. So we're doing it a little bit along the way. So across cultures and continents, trees were intentionally shaped, positioned, and maintained to mark, guide, communicate, honor, and define. Message and signal trees. Trees were shaped to convey information, directions, warnings, gathering places, and important sites. Meaning was understood by those who knew the land and knew the symbolism. Sacred groves and ceremonial spaces. Certain trees and groves were preserved and honored as sacred. Their arrangement and placement created spaces for ceremonies, storytelling, and connection to the spiritual. And yes, I realize that the pagans would do a lot of this kind of stuff, but they were worshiping the creation instead of worshiping the creator, because they knew the things that I'm trying to share with y'all guys. They knew what the trees were. They knew they were alive. They knew the things that they could do and the things that they could help them with. They just didn't give credit to the ultimate father, the ultimate creator. Boundary and territorial markers. Trees were used to mark boundaries Let me see if I can zoom this up a little bit more so it makes it a little bit better for you to see. Trees were used to mark land boundaries, territories, important meeting places. They often maintained for generations as living signs understood by all. Here's an example of a few examples. We're going to look at some more. Like leaned trees. Trees were leaned in specific directions to point the way to water, trails, villages, or seasonal resources, or something that was over that way, like in this case, to the right, go to the right, to signify there's something important over there. Twisted and looped trees. Trunks were twisted or looped as memorial landmarks that stood out in the landscape. Living arches and gateways. Branches or multiple trees were trained to grow together, creating natural arches used as passageways or symbolic entrances. Okay. Braided trees. Young trees were braided together to form strong living pillars or symbols of unity, or like for a tribe or the people who live there themselves. Okay. And of course, a lot of pagan religions would incorporate stones as well in large circles, as well as do things with the trees and other environment. They just forgot to give credit to the Father instead of worshiping the actual creation, is what I would say about that. Now, if we look closer, and there's some reasons that I'm not really speaking out loud yet as to why I'm looking at this. I think some of you will pick up on it and will know or can see the connection. So ancient ways people shaped and arranged trees. Now, some of these are alive trees that are still alive, and some of them are dead. Okay, the uses of both, because there are peoples or nations that still use the trees and even the dead ones to signify through symbolism they're saying something. Okay. Some of you will pick up on what I'm saying, but it'd probably bend too many of the rest of your minds at the moment, so we'll just learn what we learn here. So like a bent trunk, we talked about that, kind of pointing to a way. We talked about the loop tree. We talked about the arch tree, the twisted tree, and then the bent branch. Okay, again, about being markers to kind of point to a direction. And we talked about the braided trees. Now, trees moved or repositioned. Trees removed, turned upside down, and replanted are used in ceremony, but more likely warfare symbolism or territorial claims, meaning don't come here. Let me see if I can zoom this up some more for you. One here on the left. So there's a tribe of people, you might say, that's out there that still does this. They will remove a tree from the ground, flip it over, and stab the top of the tree back down into the earth. And that is many people all over many YouTube channels wonder why they do that. They do it because it's saying, I mean, anytime you see a tree that's been yanked out and put in the earth upside down, it's like freaky. It's like, ugh. It means don't come here. This is our territory. It's kind of like a warning or a threat. Okay. Then we've got tilted or lean trees that are basically dead. Okay, they can be used for direction, of course. Tripod trees like teepees and that kind of thing. They're used for gathering ceremonies, locations, and then sometimes trees will be seen where they're made into like a shelter kind of thing. And then sometimes they'll use trees in the mountains, in the woods and everything, where it's an intricate like language, basic symbolism, like the X, or like the weaving of all trees all together. It's saying something, but the language is not completely understood. Okay, here's some more examples here. Like star patterns that are placed on the ground, okay? Or different versions of that where it's they're pointing in one direction or another, and it seems completely out of place or unnatural. It's being done to mark a way or to say something, okay? And I think y'all guys pretty much get what I'm trying to get at here with all of this. I would think so anyways. And all the different ways people abuse trees in order to communicate. But like I said, there's a more in-depth reason as to why I ultimately am looking at this, because I'm trying to understand a particular nation of peoples and see ultimately if I see the proper connections. Okay, so that's what I'm doing with that. Now, what the ancients knew, the power and purpose of trees, more than just the meditation side of things, okay? So let's read a little bit about that. And we tend to like to think of ourselves today as the highest and best form of man, intelligence and power and strength and authority that's ever existed in this world. That is a foolish thought. Hey, I'm here too. I get it. But that is a foolish thought. We are not the most evolved man that's ever walked this earth. We have been dumbed down so much that we actually think that we're smart. But when you realize that you don't know everything, or maybe that you don't know much and that you've been lied to, that's the beginning of true intelligence, logic, and knowledge. We talked about the communications of thoughts and intentions using a tree to do this by placing your hand or hands on it. You can also, or this isn't me making this up, this is from research and study of ancient knowledge and ancient books and such, that trees can store, channel, and radiate a life force. By connecting with a tree, you can restore physical energy because it puts off an energy. That energy is energy to a point, okay? You can clear fatigue and illness, boost vitality and stamina, enhance spiritual strength and abilities, and ground and center yourself. And of course, this was done by shamans and mystics and healers and the monks over thousands of years. But we don't do any of this. We just go out and cut down the trees and just abuse the situation and have no appreciation really, other than it's a pretty tree or it's gives me good shade. There's so much more uses. Everything provides a service because we were given dominion over everything in this world. Access higher states and visions. Certain trees in the old days were used to enter altered states of consciousness, meditate very deeply, receive visions, prophetic dreams, journeys to alternate realms, and communication. Hollow trees is a very interesting one. I don't know if y'all guys remember in Stranger Things when they would go to the upside down world. In a number of the episodes, they had to go through a hollow tree, a tree that was an old big tree, and it had a hole in it, and it was like a portal, right? So hollow trees, ancient groves, or special trees were seen as doorways. They were used to enter other realms. Like in Stranger Things, they entered the upside down world. travel between worlds, access ancestral lands, cross spiritual thresholds, and even visit past and future timelines. This is from like shamans again, Celtic, and other mythologies around the world where I've seen some of this stuff. Trees were used to create energy protection. They help to absorb negative energy. In other words, balance you out. If you're spinning out, go hug a tree. Okay? If you're emotional and you have no one in your life, the next best thing is to go hug a tree. May sound completely nuts to you, but it doesn't to me. Provides a safe place for you to be, breaks curses and hexes if people are working against you, and act as living shields even. Using trees to manifest and bring into being. And this is, again, some of this is what I found as my research was digging into it. Trees were believed to help manifest desires. That's more along the lines of some of the pagan things that they believed, but they just didn't give the credit to the Father. Plant intentions, attract abundance, heal relationships, create change, bring visions into physical reality. Practical healing and magical uses of trees. Now, this is, again, not something I'm teaching you to do. You have to use discernment here, okay? I'm telling you what the ancients knew and did with trees. Healing and medicine. Now, that one is a one all of us should have a better understanding, like black walnut husk, okay? Or the walnut itself. What does it look like? The walnut, it's inside of a hard shell, kind of like your head's hard, and you crack it open, it looks like a brain, kind of like the one you got in your head. That means that's medicine for the brain. Right in front of your eyes, simple, but yet some people still have a hard time thinking it's anything to it. Remedies for illness, wound healing, pain release, detoxification, emotional healing. And then they did also divination and oracle work. The Bible says divination and oracle work the Bible says don't touch it. But they knew about it, and they would use the trees for those things too. Sacred ceremonial and ritual things, seasonal festivals, initiation rites, marriage and birth rituals, death and ancestral rites, offerings and prayers. That's all. It's a lot of what the pagans would use the trees for. But not all of this is pagan, and not all of this is sinful kind of stuff. You have to have discernment, okay? Trees were believed to connect the living with their ancestors, honor ancestors, receive guidance, heal family lineage, preserve memories, strengthen heritage. Building and crafting, of course, trees have been used, but you have to kill it, have been used to make shelter and homes and tools and weapons and bows and arrows and canoes and containers and bowls and art and carvings and masks and all kind of things. And trees were seen as natural calendars and timekeepers. You could use the tree to track seasons. You know when the tree is budding, it's spring. You know when the leaves are falling off, it's fall, right? You could mark solstice and equinoxes, count years even by the rings in the tree. Guide planting and harvest, knowing when to plant, when to harvest based on the budding of the trees and the leaves falling. Align with celestial cycles. They knew a lot of things, and this is just a anecdotal amount of information, but something to give you to really think about. Really think about. But I really wanted you to understand, ultimately, is your hand and we'll probably get more in depth in this too as well, but your hand, the palm of your hand, why it's called a palm, it's related to the palm tree. It's related, see, the palm tree is looked at as being the most beneficial, useful tree in the entire world. The palm tree. It provides enormous things to man and woman without having to kill it. And even in its death, it provides even more. Okay? It can provide shade. It can provide you something to drink. Get a coconut out of the tree. It can provide you dates, something to eat, or the coconut meat itself. You can use the leaves to do tons of things. You can use the wood. You can eat the inside of a palm tree. It's called heart of palm. It's just, the palm is seen as like the most important part or most important tree out there. Now, is it the most? I don't know. But that's how it's seen in different cultures around the world. And so why is it that the palm of your hand is called the palm? Think about it. Again, I want to say thank you to all of my sponsors and producers for today for sponsoring my work. I greatly appreciate you. I love you. Father in heaven loves you. Use discernment. Don't just follow me or anyone out there just because you like me or like what I do. Use discernment. Make your own choices. You have to live with them.
I've got one that can see.
Logic before authority.